Hey everyone, Techni here with a quick keyboard comparison. Now I did reviews on both of these keyboards. I'll leave the links for those right down in the description. So if you want a detailed review of both of them, again, just click on those right down there. But we're going to do just a quick comparison of the two boards right here. And the two boards we're going to be talking about is the Razer BlackWidow Tournament Edition V2 over on this side with yellow switches. Over on this side here, we got the Razer Huntsman TE with the optical red switches. All right, so number one, straight out of the box, what you see is different is the design. Right over here with the BlackWidow, you obviously get that real classic kind of Razer keyboard look, right? Get over here to the Huntsman TE, you kind of get that more simplistic, very stealthy look, which honestly looks pretty stinky sharp. Now, one other thing talking about the design of the board, as we talked about the aesthetics with the BlackWidow looking like a classic Razer, and this one kind of just having a nice, sleek, minimalistic design. Now, the BlackWidow does take up a little bit more of footprint on your desk right there. As you can see, this would be them butted up back and back to a wall right here. When the BlackWidow slopes out a little bit on the back, this guy just kind of drops off right there. So again, you get that little bit of excess space up there at the wrist rest, and of course, you're going to expand out a little bit more. So the Huntsman takes up a little bit smaller footprint on your desk right there. Now, if you take a look at the boards at this angle as well, you can tell the Huntsman is a little bit more low profile, not just the body, which you can tell right here, which is quite obvious to see, right? It's the Huntsman sitting quite a bit lower, but take a look at the escape button back here. It's almost in line with the BlackWidow body right there. Now, it's not a bad thing or a good thing on either. It's again, it's personal preference. A lot of between both of these boards is personal preference. Both of them are very nice and ergonomic, just sitting right there. They both have feet to pop out. No feet are popped out right now. They are both sitting flat on their body right there. But again, the Huntsman or the BlackWidow right over here kind of raises up just a little bit more than the Huntsman kind of sitting flat and very low profile over here. Now, another fairly big difference between each board right here as far as build and everything is the BlackWidow is completely plastic going around the bottom and top of the board right here. Very heavy duty and durable plastic, by the way. Not saying it's cheap by any means, but again, it's all plastic right here, and then the keys pressed down into that frame. Now, when you get over here to the Huntsman, as you can see, you kind of get that floating key design. So whenever you press, it's kind of right out there, the sound radiates out of it and everything, but you have a metal board right underneath the keycaps right here, and then underneath it is plastic. Now, on the BlackWidow, underneath the keycaps, you do have a metal plate as well. So kind of think about the Huntsman without this frame, this plastic frame around the outside. And also the BlackWidow comes with the wrist rest, a really nice, very soft plush Razer wrist rest. Again, if you've seen the review, probably some of my favorite right there. Very stinking cozy wrist rest. When the Huntsman doesn't come with anything. Now, the next noticeable difference is the connections. Now, the Huntsman is using USB right here on the left, and then the BlackWidow is right in the center of the keyboard. But both cables feel the exact same. Very nice, strong, durable USB cables. Another big difference straight out the box is the keycaps. Now, the BlackWidow is using sprayed ABS keycaps, and then with the Huntsman over here, you're getting some very nice double shot ABS keycaps. Now, talking about those keycaps real quick, you have the ABS over here, which why a lot of companies use these ABS is because it really shines the RGB through really well on every single key. Very nice and balanced and vibrant across the board. Now, when you get over here to the Huntsman or any other board with double shot ABS, it's kind of hit or miss sometimes. It'll be kind of faded at top of some letters, whatnot. It still looks great, but again, it's just a little bit faded sometimes in some letters around the board. All right, now talking about the RGB right here, just kind of want to show you both of them on a stagnant red. Both of them are on the max brightness right there, and as you can tell, I know it's very hard to tell within the camera right here, but the BlackWidow, you can just tell it's a lot more vibrant, kind of bleeding a little bit light out there. On the Huntsman over here, you're getting that very nice subtle RGB right there, which I really like. That subtle RGB is not screaming anything, and again, both of these are on max. So if you're a big RGB fan and you like this really shine, bright, just vibrant RGB, the BlackWidow's gonna be your pick for sure. All right, so now for the last and probably most important difference within these boards right here, and that is the switches. As you can see over here with the BlackWidow, we are using the yellow linear switches, and then over here on the Huntsman, we are using the red optical linear switches. Now, as different as these two switches sound, they're quite similar actually. The yellow switch is more or less your traditional mechanical switch, and then of course over here you have that optical switch which goes down blocks off that light and then actuate your keys, when this guy has the other components in there touching and rubbing against each other. So sure, your optical should last longer than your basic mechanical switch over here, but hey, only time will tell with that. But within the switches here, the yellows use 45 grams of actuation force and then a 1.2 millimeter actuation point. And then with the reds over here using 40 grams of force with a 1 millimeter actuation point. So honestly, that might not sound like much, right? You're talking 45 grams of force, 40 grams of force, 1.2 of actuation, and 1 millimeter of actuation. It really doesn't sound like much difference at all. But let me tell you what, honestly, whenever gaming or typing with both of these boards right here, you do notice quite a difference, especially in gaming. Both of these boards, compared to like say a basic Cherry MX, Altimo, Kale, whatever switch right there, you do notice a bit of a competitive edge. Very, very fast and very, very snappy on both of these boards, especially the Huntsman. But that can also be a negative right there. Typing at first with the Huntsman right here was very hard for me. I was getting all sorts of mispresses and everything on these. A lot of people say they get that with basic Cherry MX Reds because they're so soft and smooth. Kind of imagine Cherry MX Reds just a whole lot, maybe if you use the silvers or the silence, whatever they are, you know what I mean? These are very soft and very, like, you can just barely press the other key if you get some fat finger on there and it's gonna register right there. It is that quick and soft with this guy. Now jumping over to the BlackWidow over here, again, very quick, very snappy, very short actuation, everything, but that extra 5 grams of force really makes a significant difference. Again, coming from the Huntsman over here, I'd compare this more or less similar to some basic Cherry MX Reds with a much shorter actuation point, you know what I mean? So a lot less fat finger mispresses over here. And if you do a lot of typing, a lot of work in gaming, I'd say maybe the BlackWidow would be your choice. If you're just out there gaming and really trying to get that really high competitive edge, hey, maybe the Huntsman will be a choice. But also talking about those differences, this goes within the build of them as well, but also the switches, which again, these being more or less that mechanical and these being the optical, you really notice a sound difference. Let me give you this quick sound test. Alright, so sorry about dragging out that sound test a little bit right there, but I really wanted to give you an example of different situations, whether it be typing, just hitting a couple keys, or gaming with your WASD and smashing that spacebar and everything. And there is a significant sound difference between each board right here. And I really think the camera could pick it up. Could you pick it up right there? I mean, this Huntsman right over here is so loud. It is incredibly loud, actually. My wife has told me before when we put my son to bed, it's like, wow, can you change your keyboard? Because that thing's loud, you know what I mean? Now going over to this one over here, you kind of get that basic Cherry MX sound, and I really, really love the way this board feels and sounds. Not saying this one's bad. Again, you really get that competitive edge with this one right over here, and it feels fantastic to play. It really does with that quickness. I mean, it is really an experience you have to try over here. But again, as far as basic sound and feel, I do like the BlackWidow over here. Alright, so now the big question you're probably asking, hey man, well which one should I get? And honestly, I don't think I could recommend you one. I can tell you which one I would get, but again, what you need to do is really kind of decipher through. Go check out both of those reviews. Again, I did detailed reviews on both of these boards. Again, links right down in the description. Check those out, then come back and look at this, and then you'll be able to kind of sum each of them up right there and nitpick what you like about each of them right there. That's what I highly recommend you doing. I can tell you which one I would pick, and that would be the BlackWidow. Simply because I love the feel of it, I love the sound of it. I think the build looks really crisp and awesome, but again, it just feels a lot more natural. Sure, maybe I'd go off and buy some extra keycaps, some double shot PBT. I don't know, the keycaps on it are perfectly fine. They really are. When you get over to this one over here, maybe you get a longer life with the Huntsman, right? You got double shot PBT keycaps, optical switches. I mean, again, only time will tell how long those optical switches actually last. but it just feels weird. As far as typing, it probably took me about a solid 2 weeks to get used to this board right here, you know what I mean? Basic typing. I would respond to comments and I'm like, I'm hitting that backspace button a lot more than I usually do. And honestly, the hardest thing about picking between both of these boards right here, again, there's so many differences within it, not saying one's better than the other, they're both fantastic, but the hardest thing is they're both right about the exact same price. But hey, please let me know down in the comments if you use either of these keyboards and what you think about them, or if you used both of them and which one you prefer, or hey, which one you went ahead and picked up, you know what I mean? I'm really curious because again, these boards are so similar, somewhat, I guess, you know what I mean? Similar with a lot of differences. That makes no sense whatsoever, you know what I mean? But I'm really excited for this conversation. So please let me know down in the comments what you think. I'd really like to hear your thoughts as well. But hey, I really appreciate you stopping by and watching this comparison. Not really a versus, more or less an or just a basic comparison, you know what I mean? Because I can't say one's better than the other. They're both really fantastic. But I highly appreciate you stopping by and watch this one. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for some future tech videos. Hey, I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.